welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd come and have a chat with you today and just share a few of my makes and show you some of the things that I made while I was away at the Creativity Festival at Hillview Farm right at the beginning of August. So I can't believe nearly the whole month's gone and haven't even had a chance to come and show you what I've made. So maybe I should start with those things actually, because I've got quite a few lovely things to show you. The first being this really lovely wall hanging. I really enjoyed doing this. It's macrame, if you didn't know, and the workshop was taken by Samantha. Let me see, I wrote her name down here so I won't forget, because I know her as Pretty Little Knots on Instagram, but her name's actually Samantha Birch. So hello Sam, if you're watching. I really enjoyed it. I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see some of the detail. I was actually super slow at doing this and was one of the slowest in the class. So I realised that I'm not very good at picking things up if I don't have a reference to kind of keep looking back at. I suppose if I'm learning a new knitting technique or something like that, I'll have a YouTube video and keep watching it over and over again, because I'd see Sam do a demonstration. She'd show us, for example, the first set of knots that we'd do. And I'd watch her and I'd think, yeah, I've got it, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'd go back to my stand and literally 10 seconds later it'd gone. And I just couldn't remember what I was supposed to do. So she'd kindly come over and show me again, and I'd have another try. And eventually I did get there, and I did sort of catch up with the other people in the class. But I'm really pleased with how this came out. And I love that you actually sort of separate out all these strands. So after the class had finished, I sat around the campfire with some of the friends I made at the camp, and I sort of pulled all these little pieces apart and made it all beautiful. So I'm really pleased with how that came out. So that was my first workshop that I did. I did 3 workshops. Everybody who went to the festival, there was a whole variety of things that you could do. And yeah, the 3 things I chose to do were macrame. I did needle punching, which I'll show you. Got my finished needle punching piece. Look at that. Can you see that gorgeous texture? You can actually use either side. There's one side that's more flat, and then you've got this beautiful texture. And I think nearly all of these yarns were actual Hillview Farm yarn. I think the only bit I finished the dark sort of grey pieces, these 2 little bits, I had to finish those at home because I didn't quite finish my piece. Again, I was a little bit slow in this class. I think that was a theme over the whole weekend, that I'm maybe not a speedy crafter. So I really enjoyed that. That was taken by Peas and Needles. If you want to have a look on Instagram, she does really lovely things. The lady behind it is Lucy of Peas and Needles, and yeah, she does this kind of needle punch work. She also does some really lovely weaving, and she's a really creative person. She's got lots of different sort of mediums that she works in, mainly sort of textile based, but yeah, she does some beautiful work. But I really enjoyed this. I don't know if you've seen Boku on Instagram. She has really pioneered the trend of sort of rug hooking and needle punching, and yeah, I've seen a lot of pieces that I really like, that I'd like to try, maybe for a cushion or pillow or something for the sofa. I think would be really nice. It's kind of magic because you literally do punch in the hole and just come out and keep punching in and out, and somehow all the yarn kind of stays in place, because you can see it's not all hanging out the back or anything. It's really neat on both sides. So yeah, it's a really magic technique that I don't really understand how it works. I think it's just that the weave is so fine on the sort of mesh background that you're working to, that the fat wool kind of doesn't pull out. I suppose if you pulled really hard, you probably could pull these out and it would unravel, but yeah, it seemed pretty secure. So that was my second. And the third piece I'm actually wearing today. So I'll come a little bit closer. I'm not sure if you can see. Is it going to focus? Because it's so delicate. I wonder if... Oh, there we go. I think you can just about see it. But yeah, this was a beautiful little bracelet that I made with Kate of Grace and Flora. So this is really hard to show you on the camera, but there's just these really delicate kind of little seed beads and a little leaf charm. Oh, it's actually flipped over the wrong way, but you can see that. And this was actually on the first day I made this, and I love doing the jewellery workshop. Kate is a really good teacher, and she kind of gave us a lot of freedom and creativity. She sort of showed us some examples of the kind of pieces that we could create and the techniques for sort of threading the beads and creating these little stoppers so that your beads don't all fall out, and how to wrap the wire and attach things in different combinations. And then she just kind of let us free with all the tools and all the different beads and charms and things that she'd brought along with us, along for us to play with. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was nice that she kind of gave us the techniques and then we were free to make the pieces that we wanted. So I did a bracelet and I also did a necklace, but I don't have that with me because I gave that to my mum. But you might have seen that I did post about it on my stories at the time when I was making it. I did quite a few stories while I was there. I tried to sort of document everything, and I filmed quite a bit of footage so I can show you what I was doing. So yeah, those were the 3 workshops. I had such an amazing time. I think I had been the year before, but I'd forgotten just how amazing it was and how much fun it was, and it was really, really nice to sort of totally switch off for a few days and spend time with lots of other creative women. We ate amazing food. Natasha, who runs the event on her farm, she sort of grows a lot of the food there, and she's an amazing cook. We just had lots of really lovely kind of healthy food, fresh food, but it was all cooked with lots of lovely flavours, and I can't talk more highly about Natasha's cooking. And we had lots of lovely desserts and cakes. It was sort of every time you did a workshop, you'd get halfway through and they'd bring a plate of biscuits or a plate of cakes that she'd made, and everybody was catered for. So if you were vegetarian or gluten-free, there was like lots of options, which I thought was really, really nice. It was really thoughtful, the way they did the food. And yeah, it was just a really nice mix. There was much more people than there was the year before. I guess they'd been able to grow it and make the festival a little bit bigger, but yeah, it still had a really lovely feel. Everybody there is all into making, so yeah, you just spend some nice time sort of in the evening. Everybody has their projects out. There were loads of knitters. I saw my friend Jem of Little Grey Girl, who you might know because she also makes lovely project bags. She was there. She had a gorgeous Stephen West shawl, and I was admiring that. And yeah, there were a few other knitters. Actually, I would say probably 2/3 probably of people there were knitting. You'd look around at the morning at breakfast, at dinner time, and everybody would have their knitting out at the table. And yeah, it was really, really nice to spend some time with other knitters, although I actually didn't do a lot of my knitting. I spent all weekend kind of carrying it around, but I didn't actually do a lot of stitches. I think I was working on some of my other projects. As I said, I was a little bit slow at doing like the jewellery and the macrame, so after the lessons we were able to keep all our tools and we'd have the materials, so quite often in the evening I'd be working on my projects and finishing things up. So yeah, I just had a really, really lovely time and spent sort of, I didn't really go with anybody this time. Last year I went with my friend Danny of Little Bobbins, but this year she wasn't able to go, so I went on my own, which can be a little bit scary, but there were a few people that had been last year, so when I got there were some friendly faces that I did remember from last time, and everybody was just so nice. The other women that were in my yurt, it's glamping, so you have a beautiful yurt and you have like a blow up bed and they have lovely bedding for you and everything. It's all really well catered for. So all those, the girls that I was sharing with, they were lovely. I just had a really, really good time. So I'll stop gushing about that because it's always sad when someone's been somewhere and you didn't get to go, and I don't want you feeling left out, but it really, really was good. I couldn't stress that enough. So if you're in the UK, or even if you're not, if you were going to travel in maybe, there were a couple of people that had travelled in for the event. I'd check out their website and see if you can maybe book on for next year, because I know they've already got the early bird tickets up, so it will be held again. Can't remember the exact dates, but it's the beginning of August again in 2019. So I'll have all the details. I'll put in the show notes the link to the website. And as always, if you want to get the show notes to your email, have them in your inbox, there'll be a little sign up below. I always pop an email to my subscribers so they can see when I post a new video and pop the show notes there. So if you'd like to get on the mailing list for my videos, you can do that. Let me show you some knitting now, shall I? I've got something that I bought at Fibre East, so I've got another event that I went to recently. Fibre East is a really, really lovely... Is that focusing? Oh, there we go. This beautiful wool barn yarn definitely needs you to be able to focus on that. It's a really, really soft... There we go, there's the name. Oh, it's in reverse, but you can see this gorgeous, gorgeous colour. It's the smooth sock base, and this is in the flutter colour, and it's just a really beautiful soft rose. And I was totally smitten by this. It was really, really hard for me to decide what to buy when I went to the wool barn, and her stand was absolutely full of yarn. So many beautiful colours, and it's my favourite sock yarn to work with, so I spent quite a lot of time sort of mulling over the options. So I got this one because I was really drawn to it. But I'll show you, I've cast on a project that I am doing with more wool barn yarn. So I'll give you a quick peek. This is in one of my block printed bags. You might have seen on my Instagram last week, I was doing some block printing and I carved these stamps and was doing some tests, and I thought, oh, they'd look amazing on project bags. So I made myself one and put up a little note on there to see if people were interested, because I thought if somebody else wanted one I could make a little batch. So I put up a pre-order, and yeah, I got quite a few people wanted these bags. So I was really happy that the block printed bags have been so popular. I was thinking maybe I should start like a bag club or something and do a different block print each month or something like that. So you'll have to see. Maybe actually if that's something you're interested in, like I always love it when you comment or send me an email and let me know what you're thinking, because it's really hard when you're running a business to know what people want. Just because I like something, it doesn't always mean that everybody does. So yeah, so if you're interested in some more of these little bags, just a really simple like small bag that's probably good for socks or shawls. And I just hand stamped my little logo on the back there. But yeah, so these inside this block printed bag, I've got another wool barn skein. Let me show you that, because it's got gorgeous flecks of sort of like orange and brown and kind of tan. Yeah, can you see that? It's like a really nice, they call it beach grass. It's a really nice soft kind of sea green, like with a hint of blue. As I say, I just really love those little flecks of kind of orange and brown. And I'm knitting the Cyril socks. I've knit this pattern before. It's the Cyril socks by Danielle George of Little Bobbins. Let's see, can you see it's got like a sort of faux cable design that's going down the leg. I really enjoy this pattern because it's got enough interest to sort of keep me interested in the knit, but it's simple enough that you can memorise the repeats, and I just kind of keep track of where I am row by row. You can see I've just started doing the heel flap there. But yeah, it's just a really, really lovely pattern. I think it's a nice sort of feature with these cables, because you don't need a cable needle, but I really, really enjoy this pattern. So the last time, I think you might have seen it a few episodes back, I knit the same pattern, but it was in a Ginger Twist Studio yarn, like a sort of dark, almost like an indigo kind of purple, that I did the same ones as Cyril socks in. So if you have a look a few episodes back, you'll see those. So that's the other project I've got going, and I'll pop those back in there. I'm actually, I'm not sure how many of you in the UK are watching this, but I'm doing a block printing workshop in September. So it's not that long away now, September the 15th, and there's still a couple of tickets left in the shop. So if you are in the UK, sort of in the London area, I'm doing a workshop in West London on the 15th, and there's tickets in the shop. So if you fancied maybe having a go at block printing, then yeah, you should come and join me. I'll put the details, like I said, in the show notes for those as well. I almost forgot to tell you about that, but yeah, it'd be really lovely if you could join me. I'd love to meet some of you in person. I think we'd have such a nice afternoon. Block printing, it's sort of really, really fun, whatever skill level you're at, whether you're a complete beginner or you've got like some kind of artistic eye and you're good at drawing, or you want to kind of translate that into print. It's a really nice way of starting the sort of print journey. So if any of you kind of like to spend an afternoon, it's like a really fun, relaxed kind of thing. There'll be like lots of other women that are into the same things as you are. I'm just kind of imagine it being like a really fun, sort of very chilled afternoon, just all getting together and learning something new and doing something with our hands that I think will be really fun. So yeah, if you're local to me, then yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, carrying on with the knitting, I keep going off on tangents today, but I have finished my 3x1 rib sock that I was working on. I think I showed you that a couple of episodes back. I'll pop a link to these sock blockers as well in the show notes, because every time I show these on my Instagram or anywhere like that, they always get so many questions of people asking where they're from. I'll bring these a little bit closer so you can see. I love this yarn. It's Gregoria Fibres, and she naturally dyes her yarn. It's so beautiful. I love all these little, I don't know how she does all this speckled work, because I know a lot of people say that it's really hard on the sort of non-superwash basis to get these speckles, but she does such a beautiful job. I've got, so I've finished one, I haven't cast on the other yet, so I've still got this caked up, ready to go. It's got some lovely, you can see there, when it's caked up, you can still see all those lovely speckles. My poor camera's having some trouble focusing today. Oh, there we go. I think it's a really dark, gloomy day. It's actually pouring with rain, and it's quite chilly, which is why I'm wearing a cardigan today. So I think maybe it's struggling a little bit to focus because it's quite dark. So sorry if you're noticing that I keep being out of focus. What else have I got to show you? I'm not sure it warrants showing you this, but I'm going to anyway. I've got my, in one of my drawstring bags, I've got a lovely shawl that I'm working on. I did show you this the other day, and I'm not sure you'll notice much of a difference, although I have been working on it. It's the Pebble Beach shawl by Curious Handmade, and you can see it has grown a little bit. It's one of those, it feels like I keep picking it up and it's not really growing, but I'm really, really enjoying this project because it's a nice, simple pattern to remember. And I love Helen. Helen is the designer behind Curious Handmade. I love her patterns because she does a percentage system. So every row has a little checkbox and you can check off as you go and make sure that you've got the right stitch count, and it tells you what percentage you're at. So I think this is 30% finished. So I love that. I think it's really nice to keep your motivation when you know how far you've got. I'll quickly show you that. This is beautiful. Another gorgeous natural dyer. This is the Woolly Mammoth. My friend Emma is in Northern Ireland and she has the most beautiful yarn. I'll check the tag. I think it's a Masham blend. Yeah, BFL Masham. She has such a cute, well, cute's probably the wrong word. It's very sweet. It's like a really beautiful logo. There we go. Yeah, she has this lovely branding. I've actually been working on a project with her because she's got her anniversary coming up in October and she's bringing out a new sock yarn, and I've worked on a little screen print for her to make some custom bags that you'll be able to get. I'll give you some information a bit nearer the time when they're actually ready to pre-order, but I don't know. Actually, somebody said the other day they didn't realise I print all my bags. So yeah, if you didn't know that, yeah, I actually screen print these designs, and I've done a custom design for Emma for her sort of special anniversary bag. So that's all my knitting projects. I think while we're chatting about knitting quickly, I'll tell you what I'm wearing. So I don't think I've got much more to say, but I'm wearing, this is the Gwyneth cardigan by Cecily Glowick MacDonald, and it's a Quince & Co pattern. I'll show you. It's got, you can see it's got this really lovely little lacy sort of panel. I think these buttons I got at the Cloth House on Berwick Street. If you're ever in London and you go to Liberty's, just down the road on Berwick Street, they've got loads of fabric shops, and yeah, that's where I think I've got these buttons. But this is the Quince & Co yarn. It's Finch in the colour Slate. And yeah, I knit this years ago. This is one of an early sweater that I made. And oh, actually I've got a little handmade top on as well. I'm wearing one of my the grain line lark tees that I made. I think I showed that a few podcasts ago as well, actually. I made a little short sleeve top. So yeah, I think that's what I'm wearing today. And I don't really have much more to share. What have I talked about? I've told you all about my makes, and I told you about my workshop on the 15th of September. One more thing was, you might have seen me post about on Instagram, but Josephine Brooks, who has the podcast On The Make, she interviewed me last month, and the podcast episode is live. So if you'd like to, I guess have like a peek behind the scenes at my business and learn a little bit more about the running of the business. And she actually really wanted to talk about kind of the sustainable elements of my business, and I haven't probably talked about it a lot on the podcast here, but everything I make in the shop is all from organic cottons, and I use non-toxic inks, and everything has like an eco-friendly spin to it. So I talked a lot about why I choose to use those kind of materials and sourcing those materials, and we had a really, really lovely chat. And we also talked a lot about Instagram. She wanted to know about my photography, and she wanted me to share some tips. I'm definitely not an expert, so I felt a bit like a fraud giving Instagram tips, but I did my best to share the things that I've learned. So I realised I've been on Instagram since 2012, which that is a really long time ago. I couldn't believe it's that much when I had to scroll right back to see when my first few posts. It was 2012, so that was a really long time ago. So I guess I have picked up some tips along the way, and my pictures are better than those kind of when everyone was using the filters and they were all really dark and grainy. So I think they probably have come a long way since then. So I think that was all I wanted to tell you about. I've told you about my knitting, told you about the festival, told you about the podcast that I was on. That was really lovely, actually. I met Josephine at Blogtacular. I don't know if any of you in the UK know Blogtacular. It's a conference. They're actually taking a break next year, but for the last few years they've done a conference. It was primarily started for bloggers, but I mean everything that they shared, they have 2 speakers each day and several workshops throughout the day, and everything that you learn there kind of applies if you're a small business. It's not really, you don't have to be a blogger. I wouldn't say, although I do have a small blog on my website, I definitely wouldn't say I'm a blogger, and I've always got some really good value out of the workshops that I actually learned last year. The previous year when I went, Xanthi Berkeley, she was there teaching a video class, and I learnt loads. I really, really liked her workshop, and they do photo walks, and that's a really lovely event. And I met Josephine there. I was literally sitting next to her in one of the workshops, and as you do, you kind of at these things sit down next to someone, because I went on my own, so didn't know anybody, and you kind of sit next to somebody else and ask what they do. And we had like a little 5-minute chat before the speaker came on, and just from that like short connection, I think she'd looked me up and seen my work, and few weeks followed up and told me that she'd be starting this new podcast for makers and designers, and she wanted to have a chat to me. So it just shows that if you put yourself out and go to these events and be brave, and especially if you go on your own, I quite often go to things on my own, because I think if I've got a friend there and it's like a security blanket, I won't mix with all the other people, so I'll be like just chatting to my friends. So I quite often push myself out of my comfort zone and try and do these things, and every time I do, like really amazing things happen. I've made some brilliant connections that have really helped me kind of in my business, but not just that, it's helped me make other creative friends and just meet people that are interested in similar things to I am, because not a lot of friends in my sort of real, like, well, not real life, you know what I mean, because Instagram, all the people I meet there, they are sort of becoming, I've got a few really good friends that I've met through Instagram, but in my everyday life, my friends don't really make or do lots of creative things, so it's always nice in these situations to make some new friends who do have similar interests. So I think that's it. So it's just a little quick catch up today, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I'm going to update my shop on Sunday at 8 p.m. So if you're watching this in the next couple of days, you'll probably be able to catch the update. I'll have several of these I'll have, I'll probably have all of the different drawstrings. I'll definitely have the sweater sacks, the bigger size, and some of the little sock sacks. And as I said, I've got a couple of these panels printed, so I'll pop some of these in as well. And yeah, all the usual bits that you find in the tote bags and tool rolls, I'll pop some more pieces in the shop. So it's looking a bit low at the moment. So if you've been waiting for something, yeah, you can check out the update on Sunday, 8 p.m. And yeah, I will chat to you soon. I really appreciate you coming and spending a little bit of time with me today, and I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching.